This is part 3 of our lesson on exponential functions. And in this part, we're going to take a look at how to find the y-intercept algebraically of an exponential function. So it says calculate the y-intercept of each of the following exponential functions. And there are actually 3 examples here for us to try. To find the y-intercept, that's where the graph crosses the y-axis. So if you looked at a graph, it would be where the graph hits the y-axis. Now, all of the points on the y-axis have one thing in common, and that is that their x value equals 0. So if you want to find y-intercept, you want to sub in x equals 0. And that's what we're going to do. So for the first one, we're going to take our equation y equals 2 to the power of x plus 6 minus 5. And everywhere we see an x, we are going to substitute in 0. So we're going to get y equals 2 to the power of 0 plus 6 minus 5. So order of operations tells me we do brackets, exponents, multiplication and division, addition and subtraction. So in this case, I have a 0 plus 6 in my exponent, so I am going to start there since I didn't have any brackets. 0 plus 6 is 6. And then I'm going to evaluate my exponent next, 2 to the power of 6. You can use your power sheet for that, or you can use your calculator. 2 to the power of 6, I believe, is 64. Yep. And 64 take away 5 is 59. So the y-intercept of this function is going to be at 59. Now the next one, y equals 3 to the x minus 2 plus 7. Same thing to find the y-intercept. Everywhere I see x, we're going to sub in 0. So we're going to do 3 to the power of 0 minus 2 plus 7. Okay, BEDMAS says we start with brackets. We don't have any. Then exponents. Well, I need to simplify the exponent first before I can evaluate it. So 0 minus 2 is negative 2 plus 7. On my calculator, if I try 3 to the power of negative 2, I get a decimal, and I do not want a decimal. So there needs to be something else for us to do. I want to try to keep it in exact form. A negative exponent, we learned, makes a fraction. So it's going to take that 3 and turn it into a 1 over 3 to the power of 2. Now, 1 over 3 to the power of 2, we do 1 squared is 1, and 3 squared is 9. And I want to add to that 7. Now, to make this a little easier, I know that to add fractions, I need a common denominator. So what I'm going to do on this step to save myself some space is I'm going to try to write that 7 as a fraction over 9. And to get this as a fraction over 9, right now it is a fraction over 1. So to turn that 1 into a 9, I had to multiply the bottom by 9, and then I will multiply the top by 9, and 7 times 9 is 63. So I'm going to take 1 over 9 plus 63 over 9, which is really just 7, and add them together to get a y-intercept of 64 over 9. Now the last one, we're going to calculate the y-intercept by subbing in x equals 0. So y equals 1 over 5 to the power of 0 take away 3 plus 1. So brackets, I do have a bracket, but there really isn't anything to do here. That's just to show that the 1 and 5 are part of a fraction. And then exponents, I'm going to do 0 take away 3, which is negative 3 plus 1. Now, a negative exponent makes a fraction. This is already a fraction. So a negative exponent has a flipping over action. So it's going to take that 1 over 5, and flip it to make it a 5 over 1 to the power of positive 3. Now, 5 to the power of 3 is 125. And 1 to the power of 3 is just 1. So I can write this as 125 over 1. But 125 divided by 1 is really just 125. And then if I add on that 1 that we've been carrying all the way down, this gives me a y-intercept of 126. At this point, I'm going to ask you to take the remaining sheets on graphing functions and construct for yourself a table of values. So we've done that once already. All you're going to do is substitute in the numbers for x. So 2 times -4, 2 times -3, 2 times -2. Plot your points. You're going to do y equals x squared. We've seen that in the last unit. Make yourself a table of values and then plot your points. And then y equals 2 to the x. We've seen that one already in the previous part of the lesson. So you're going to make a table of values, plot your graphs, and then answer the 2 questions where you have to state your information. So I'm going to ask you at this point, stop the video because it's going to be over, and fill in those last 2 pages on your own. And during class, we will take a look at what it is we want to do next.